Hi everybody, MichaelBtheGameGenie here, and on today's video we're going to be taking a look at the GRS Build-A-Cade 1/6 scale home arcade cabinet kit from Thunderstick Studios. And no, not that Thunderstick.
Game on.
So that's right guys, today I'm going to be reviewing the GRS Build-A-Cade 1/6 scale arcade cabinet kit from our good buddy Glen over at Thunderstick Studios. Most of you already know Glen from his YouTube channel or as administrator on just about every home arcade Facebook group ever created. But what you might not know is Glen has been making great quality, low cost arcade replacement parts for our home arcade for years now. The GRS Build-A-Cade is Glen's first foray into making his own arcade, and I want to say a huge thank you to Glen for sending it out for me for the purposes of this review. So let's take a look at this cabinet and see if it lives up to Glen's outstanding reputation, and if you should consider purchasing one for yourself. Here is the GRS Build-A-Cade 1/6 scale home arcade kit, and if you are unfamiliar with the product, the first thing you are probably asking is, what do you mean by kit? Well, the Build-A-Cade is like an interactive Raspberry Pi case, providing all the parts to turn it into a little arcade. But you do need to bring your own Raspberry Pi and charging cable, which aren't included. Let's open up the box and see just what is included. Alright, well, so let's get the box open on the GRS Build-A-Cade. Guys, I'm not going to lie to you, I really struggled trying to get this decorative cover off the brown box to get the box open. It was so tight, like the tightest thing I had ever done. So I'm going to struggle with this for a couple minutes. Let's fast forward. So once I finally got the protective cover off, my god, that was tough. Let's finally take a look at what's included inside the box. So we'll turn it around and open it up, and don't tell me this is going to be difficult too. Man, this is packed real well, Glen. There we go. Finally we're in. So you pull off the first layer, and this is when my heart sunk a little bit because here come the parts. So there you have your instruction manual. There's your stick-on side art. There's your first side panel for the arcade. There's another part. I'm not sure where that one goes. Then, of course, we have the SD card. That's going to play an important part. The beautiful screen. There it is. Vertical orientation. And, of course, there's another part in there that I might have just missed. Here's the next side art. There's your bezel, marquee, and control panel art. Oh, there's the jammer harness. There's your other side panel. So many parts, guys. You have no idea. I don't know what that one is. Another cable, and there is... Oh, there's just so many parts to this arcade. It's bananas, and it keeps going. So there, guys, we have optional ball sticks, ball tops that we can use, and dust covers. And there you have your mounting brackets for your Raspberry Pi. This is for the marquee. Man, so many little parts. There's the coin door. Look how cool that is. There's the included control panel, one button control panel. Everything feels really good. Here is the back of the arcade with all the functional buttons. Ooh, a ribbon cable. They're really easy to break. I'm worried about that. And moving down, we have even more parts. So there is going to be your plexiglass to cover the screen. And there's the front panel that the coin door goes into. Even more cables. Make sure to read the instruction manual, guys. Here's going to be the included battery. So one cool thing about this Raspberry Pi is usually run on a power charger. Here, you're going to be able to charge up this battery and run your Raspberry Pi off that. more mounting parts for the arcade, including the bottom. And guys, that's it. We made it through. That is all the many parts you're going to have to put together to build your GRS Build-A-Cade. Okay, wow, so that is so many parts, but don't be overwhelmed, as it's still relatively easy for anyone to build. Just pick up your instruction manual, follow the easy-to-read instructions, and just like that, it'll be done. Well, I wish it was actually that simple, but for those of you who watch my stream, it took me almost an hour and a half to build my unit, while according to Glen, it should only take the regular person about 20 minutes. Well anyways, now that we have the Build-A-Cade constructed, let's take a look at it. The form factor of the Build-A-Cade itself is interesting, taking a lot of inspiration from classic arcade cabinet builds with a familiar boxy design and angled screen, but on the inside there is a more modern hook design leading up to the marquee that jots out a considerable distance, which we will talk more about later. The art that comes included with the Build-A-Cade for the side panels is very high quality stick-on art. It may not bring the nostalgia many people hope for when purchasing an arcade, but does feature art reminiscent of a black, light, glow-in-the-dark carpet that seems to fit a multi-cade. If you are looking for something that will bring back that arcade nostalgia you might feel is lacking, check out Joe Szabo's art kits for the Build-A-Cade. Robotron 2084 comes highly recommended by yours truly. On the front kick plate, you will notice there is a faux coin door with 2 slots for quarters that are actually buttons that you will use to add coins into your games, which is an awesome feature. In the slot where the key would typically go is a headphone jack to plug in your favorite pair in case you want to play in silence and not wake up your house. I think the faux coin door is awesome, and my only small critique is that the coin slots don't offer a lit feature, as we have seen from the 1/6 scale releases from New Wave Toys that added so much value to the cab's overall aesthetic. The cabinet comes included with a light-up marquee that looks good and has great even light distribution. The included artwork marquee does look just a little washed out on my unit, and I am not in love with the design personally, but it is again fine for a multi-cade. If you were already planning on swapping out your art, Joe Szabo's kits do include both a replacement marquee stick-on as well as control panel graphics. Speaking of control panels, the GRS Build-A-Cade comes with a 1-button control panel. He does sell additional control panel packs that feature other control schemes, such as twin sticks for you Robotron fans, or a 6-button configuration for those looking to play fighters. I was originally planning to test out all these panels for this review, however, the process of swapping the decks is a little more cumbersome than I hoped, and involves taking apart the cabinet once again back to the step where you initially inserted the control panel, and seeing how long it took me to build the cabinet in the first place. I think I may come back and talk about the swappable control decks in a separate video. Anyways, the included control panel features 1 stick and actually 3 buttons, where 1 is your action button, while the other 2 start players 1 and 2 in-game. The control stick feels excellent despite its small size and has a good amount of tension to the stick. It operates how you would expect a GRS control stick to work, with great accuracy that will make your gameplay experience feel arcade quality. The buttons feel great as well, and there's no lag or input delay. Overall, the controls are pretty fantastic and live up to Glen's reputation. The screen is a widescreen monitor placed in a vertical position, meaning that the cabinet is kind of optimized for vertical games. However, horizontal games still look really good on the screen, as the monitor itself is a little oversized and you still get a fair-sized horizontal picture on this 1/6 scale arcade. In future versions of the kit, it would be amazing to see if they could potentially add a rotatable screen. The screen quality is amazing, with vibrant colors and crystal clear picture quality. There is no washout or discolorization when viewing the screen at any angle, and honestly this may be one of the best screens I have seen to date on a home arcade product. The only downside, sadly, is there is a small line of sight issue with the screen, where when looking down at the arcade from an angle, as most people would having it sat on a table or a desk, the marquee will block the top of the screen. The optimum viewing angle is almost straight on, so be prepared to crane your neck to see under the marquee. This is mainly a problem for games using a vertical orientation, as the marquee only cuts off about 20% of the top of the screen in that format, while you can still see the entire screen for horizontal games. As much as I like the effort to recreate the original arcade feel with the slanted monitor and forward-facing marquee, I do wish it was adjusted a little more to avoid this issue. One way to avoid this, of course, is to output your video feed to a TV or monitor. If you take a look on the back of the cabinet, you will find the slot to plug in your HDMI cable and get video and audio out from the device. This feature will allow you to play on the monitor of your choosing and allow for game capture and streaming from the Build-A-Cade. The picture quality from the HDMI out is fantastic and responsive to the controls of the cabinet. The cabinet sound quality is really good, coming from a speaker that can be found towards the back. The games are loud and crystal clear, which is surprising as most units at this price point have smaller speakers that usually output a tinny sound, but not here with the Build-A-Cade. The cabinet comes with an SD card that once booted up will set up your Raspberry Pi for use with the GRS Build-A-Cade, including all possible control configurations. When you go to available games initially, you will find only one available, which is The Adventures of Robbie Roto, a Bally Midway game from 1981. For those of you saying, why does that game sound familiar, Retro Ralph featured some video footage from the developers conference back in 1980 where Eugene Jarvis, the creator of Robotron, was playing it and sharing his thoughts. If you haven't seen it, I will leave a link to Ralph's video in the description below. For those not familiar, Robbie Roto is a weird mix of Dig Dug and Pac-Man where you must rescue people from this mine where you will have to dig your way through paths to get them and locate a key to unlock the cavern, while avoiding enemies who roam the halls before escaping with your people to exit the level. Of course, if you get hit by one of the enemies, you lose a life, but if one of the enemies catches the people you are dragging towards the entrance, they will be dragged back into the cavern and you will have to rescue them again. It's actually a fun game, certainly not the best, which is probably why it's a footnote in arcade history, and it has just awful graphics, but it's still fun. I'm sure you didn't buy this thing just to play Robbie Roto. It is a multi-cade after all, and unlike other entries in the 1/6 scale space, you can add additional games to this arcade. Now, you will be responsible for sourcing your own ROMs to add to this arcade, and please don't ask me for them. If you do have your own ROMs you want to add to your Build-A-Cade, check out this great guide from Wagner's Tech Talk, who will take you through the steps on how to add them. Trust me, it's super easy, because if I can do it, literally anyone can. Once you get your ROMs added to the arcade, you will find they automatically have the correct button mapping, even to the point where the coin-in slot works to add coins to the games. The games you add all run and sound great, depending on the quality of the ROM, of course. For the purpose of this review, I added some arcade games that were compatible with the one-button control panel currently installed. All my experiences were positive, and the games ran just as well as I've played on any other home arcade, if not better. It's this ability to add additional games and have a multi-cade in this size range that separates this product from other offerings. No matter what size or style of arcades you collect, there is only so much room, and there are games that may never get an official release, and a multi-cade is a great way to solve both of those problems, and Glen's Build-A-Cade is the first out of the gate in the 1/6 scale arcade market, and it will be hard for people to match the quality he has delivered here. So guys, that's my look at the GRS Build-A-Cade from our buddy Glen over at Thunderstick Studios. I think this is an excellent first entry into the 1/6 scale home arcade market by Glen, and overall, it's an excellent 1/6 scale multi-cade due to the ease of adding games, the excellent controls, the vibrant screen, quality build of the cabinet. Everything is just great. There are, however, two areas of improvement that I'd like to see on future revisions, with a potential rotating screen so you can switch back and forth between horizontal and vertical games, as well as ease of access for the swappable control panels, because I really would like to just pop it out and put the new control panel in without having to take apart the entire cabinet. There is one big oversight in my opinion on this cabinet, and that is with the line of sight, as most times when you're playing one of these tabletop or desktop arcades, you're going to be sitting above the cabinet, and there's definitely a line of sight issue, especially when playing the games in vertical mode, where you do lose a portion of the screen. However, it shouldn't impact too bad your overall experience. Anyways guys, let me know in the comments below, what do you think of the GRS Build-A-Cade 1/6 scale home arcade cabinet kit from Thunderstick Studios? Is this something you're interested in? Do you have a Raspberry Pi sitting at home that you think would be perfect to transfer into a mini home arcade with this kit? What do you think of the price point? What do you think of the quality? Let me know in the comments, guys, and also let me know what you think of this review. Anyways guys, thank you so very much for watching. This is Michael B. the Game Genie, and I'll talk to you next time.